Hi. Hi. Oh, here we go. Crazy dog. Hold on.
I need my glasses.
Hi, I'm Tia. This is LFT. And we are Decipher. Hold on. Rookie mistake. YouTube was on in the background. Hey, friend. Shh. We're doing the news. Okay, here you go. Here's Puppies. He is a little upset because he hasn't had me around. I know. And so he's a little out of sorts right now. So he's going to sit on my lap for a few minutes while we do the news of the day. Hi, everyone. Hi, Delana, Dawn, Jenna, Missy. It is crazy cold out. I agree. Michelle, hi. Kelly P, Butterfly Kisses. How are you guys?
Apparently, we're all a little cold.
I think we are.
And Dawn, for the record, I walked outside with Tia. I had her on the phone, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "It's cold," and I'm in North Carolina, and she was like, "Don't even talk to me."
I was like, "Hush, girl." I'm sorry. What? What did you say? It's cold,
but it was
isn't
so funny. She was like,
"You don't like it cold." Okay, can I do the news now? Do you mind if I talk? Is it okay?
Dash, come here. Dash, come here. Come here.
He's right here.
He loves to not love me.
He does not like her.
No, we don't get, Dash and I don't get along. Tia locked us in a room together one day, and she shut the door on us, and actually it was on the floor in that room, and Dash and I both just kind of look at each other and we're like, how do you want to handle this? I was the bigger person, and I gave him like 3 of my Cheerios. So,
you've been watching on the rewatch since you've been working. Kelly, I just appreciate you tuning in and being a mod. You're just the best. Kelly has been instrumental since we started on Rachel's case in helping us just gather information, share information. She's just one of the best mods. Our moderators on this channel, I know everybody says they have the best mods, but we have the same mods we started with exception of just a couple. Kelly came on a little bit later, but oh my God, we are so lucky. We are so lucky. And our moderators are actually our friends. So we really lucked out there. Day 3.
Let me get my.
What?
I'm just grabbing my slippers. I'm listening.
Okay. So day 3, Rachel, Morin, Victor, Antonio, Martinez, Hernandez. We're going to try and breeze through this. Every time I say his name, I get just a little bit more angry. And when I think of him like I did today and saw him, okay. Let's do a description of what happened today, just an overall vibe of the room. So, first of all, it was crowded, as it is, because everyone wants to be a part of it and see what happened and, learn about what happened with Rachel. And that is, I mean, the support of the community has just been amazing. And I know that there are people in the family who really, hey, X, what's going on, exiled one? I know there's people in the family who have just been really appreciative and the public's support and kindness. And it really has been very interesting to see and I'm just so proud of our little town. I am so proud of our little town, our county, everything.
Well, thank you, Kelly. That's so nice.
Oh, thanks. But it was crowded today. As you guys know, we didn't do a live last night. I didn't go, and I was going to make up an excuse and tell you like it was my birthday and I didn't feel like it. No, I'll be honest with you. The reason that I didn't go yesterday was because the day before when they showed the pictures, it was hard. And they're graphic, and I described, a lot of the things that happened to Rachel. And every day we just get more. You're from Harford County. Yay. I love that, Michelle. Hi, Wheel. I'm sorry I didn't say hi. Getting cornbread out of the oven. Oh, that's awesome.
I want some, but I don't want the milk.
Okay. All right.
Please.
Okay. So let's just describe. My mood was super grumpy today. And yesterday, I felt like I missed a lot of information. And I'm sad that I didn't go. But also, I'm kind of glad that I didn't because I needed that separation to just, like I said, the pictures were a lot to deal with. And that's something that, that just kind of stays with you. It sticks on you. And I don't mind Rachel sticking on me, but what Victor did to Rachel, that's something I said it the other day and I mean it. It's hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. What's harder to watch, in my opinion, is Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez sauntering around the damn courtroom, preening himself. What?
I just said thank you, Ranch.
Preening himself, fixing his tie, tucking in his shirt, fixing his belt, fixing his hair. Because today it was all smooshed down, all, it's like, and he's smiling the entire time, smiling. Yeah. It's so hard to watch because you literally, right, Dawn? Oh my God, he makes me sick too. It's really hard to sit there as a Joe citizen and watch him just diddy bop around the room like he's just having the best day ever. You just want to do the wrong things and cause a mistrial, and I don't want to do that, but it makes me kind of makes me want to do stabby things to his eyeballs. I'm not gonna lie. All right, so we're going to go over the notes today. There were some big things that happened today. Hi, Dawn. There were some really, really big things that happened today. Today we learned, well, there's been an eyewitness. We've known about this witness for a long time. We didn't know the name or anything like that, but we had heard, that there was an eyewitness out there. Actually, let me say this. We didn't hear it. There was a rumor. You know how you hear like, oh, I heard this, that, and the other. But I never heard any, don't be sorry.
Like, we never got any like confirmation. And then it was kind of like, it just kind of fizzled almost. It was like, was kind of towards, it really did fizzle.
And we didn't hear a lot about it. And of course, like, we're not saying anything. When we hear something or you hear a rumor or someone messages you something, you're like, okay, well, you never know. So we don't discuss that stuff. And I said we wouldn't until the trial. And now that it's coming out, I'm like, oh, we heard about this. So today we heard several things. I'm gonna go in chronological order of what we heard, but we started the day with a sidebar. Well, there's nothing better than going to court and just automatically jumping right over to that little sidebar. And we sidebarred for a little more than a half an hour. And we asked the jury to come in, each member of alternative jury members to come in, and they were asked questions, and we dismissed another jury member. Number 46 left, and 86 is now, who was an alternate, is now a juror. So this is why we have the alternates. And actually, I need a highlighter.
Kelly P, they're not saying why. I think they're.
No, we don't know why. I mean, you never know why. They never tell you. And really, that's cool. Like, juries should be kept. That's information I don't need that information. Sorry, I'm looking for a highlighter and I don't got one. Okay, we're just gonna put a little mark. So today, what?
Where's your in your little bag? I didn't know if you had your notebook next to you. Your bag.
I'm too nosy. The justice that we know is coming for Victor is gonna be somebody else's little bitch. Yeah, yes. Little is the key word there. Little is the key word. Kyle, there we go. So we started with a sidebar, and we started with some jury members being questioned. Like I said, 46 left and 86 was put in. Then we get to our first witness of the day, who was Kyle Stacy. And Kyle, my heart hurts for Kyle. You're going to learn why in a second. He works for a production company. They do something with drones. He's very familiar with the trail. He's been there 30 to 40 times with his girlfriend. They take hikes there. They go out about a mile and a half and come back. So they do like 3-mile hikes to the tunnel, which is just past the crime scene. And then they come back. They take their dog. They go around 6 p.m. They park in the lot at the trailhead at the William Street entrance, and they go for their 3-mile walk. Nothing was out of the ordinary. Everything was fine. They went down. They had their lovely walk. They were headed back to the actually, let me get rid of this. They were headed back to their car for the day. They had completed whatever. And as they're coming back, before they cross the footbridge, he hears, let me say this. Kyle is 6'4" and a very large man. Like, he's a broad guy, not fat in any way, shape, or form, but he's a big fella. He could be intimidating to someone on the trail. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't seem like he scares really easily. And they were walking back and he heard a branch snap. And he looked over, and what he sees is a guy in the woods with a large walking stick. Now the walking stick is like 5 feet tall and it has an orange tip to it. And he says he only looks for about 2 seconds and makes eye contact and turned back. And he immediately felt that ick feeling. He was uncomfortable. And he said he actually remembers grabbing his girlfriend's hand just a little tighter and saying, like, let's pick up the pace here. Let's get out of here. So he saw a guy in the woods, and the way he described the guy in the woods, hold on to your hats, boys and girls, was a gray hoodie. He was male, mid-20s or early 30s. He had sunglasses on. And a blonde beard. That's what he saw. He was a broad-billed guy with broad shoulders. The weather was warm. It was in the 80s. The sun was just starting to set. And he had a sweatshirt on, and the hood was up, and he had sunglasses on. And like I said, he had this stick. In his right hand, he had a walking stick. He thought it was a walking stick. Black with the orange tip. And like I said, he was very nervous. He was uncomfortable. And he thought the guy was just acting strange. And he knew he was like, I just want to get out of here. And he never saw anybody else there before. So he was like concerned that when they went down, they didn't see him when they were going down. So they're walking back to their car, and just before, and I have video of this, we can show you this, just before, or as they cross the footbridge, there's that S, or they call it a switchback, where it goes, it's like a really sharp S turn. Straight ahead is an overlook, but as you're coming back, they were coming back up. As they were doing that, Rachel Morin was coming down. And he described her as wearing the clothes that she was found in and her AirPods in, and she was alone. And what he said on the stand then was, and it shook me to my core, and I so feel for him. He said he wished he would have said, don't go down there. There's a strange guy down there. And he didn't. And he lives with that. And he is a good man who's struggling. And I ask, if you are a praying person or you just want to send good vibes up for him, do that. He's a good guy. So they, hang on a second. I just got to correct some things in my notes as I'm doing this. So they get back to their car and they have the rest of their whatever. And as he passes Rachel, he turns around and looks down at the guy again. And the guy's now with the walking stick and going towards the tunnel. Okay. So he gets up and, they head back to the car and whatever. Oh, he describes her as wearing her black bra, had her watch on and her Apple AirPods in, and she was alone. She was doing a slight jog while looking at her watch. He looked back to see the man and saw Rachel. It was only, I don't know. He said he saw the guy and it was only 30 seconds later he felt like he saw Rachel. Like, it all happened pretty quickly on. He said that definitely the guy was lying in wait. So he goes on with his life, and we know what happens with Rachel. Monday morning, he goes to work, and someone says to him, oh, by the way, there were other people on the trail. There was a group of people, group of 5 behind him and a couple in front of him about a half a mile away. So just so you know, like, this was a very brazen attack. Very brazen. And he went to work, and I noted a time here. I said at 10:28, the witness looks at Victor. He actually turned around and kind of looked at him. So they went home, and he goes into work, and Monday someone says to him, "Did you hear about the murder?" "Yes, thank you, Wheel. That's awesome." And of course, Kyle's like, "What murder?" And he shows him a picture of the Baltimore Sun, and it's Rachel. And he just, the color went out of it. Like, he was, I'm sure, it's just sick, and immediately called the tip line, called Harford County and said, I saw her. He went in for an interview immediately. Hang on one second. Sense of awareness.
Oh, no, you're fine. Take your time. Just go through your notes.
Went to work, saw the photo, called the tip line. Talked to Detective Pat Ross a couple of times. And they went to the scene and they did a reenactment. Like, where was the guy standing as where you were? And it was not close. Like, it was not close. For the description that he got of the walking stick, it was pretty far away. So, I mean, it was only a 2-second interaction, but his recollection was very, very good, with the exception of the blonde beard. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that Victor had a blonde beard? I don't know. Was it the sun on him? I don't know. It could be that a million different things. The sun was shining on. I don't know.
But he was very consistent in his account, and
and the cross was his employment again. He's a commercial builder of drones. He's been to the trail 30-40 times prior to the murder. I don't think he's been back. Saw him on his left side, but that would be the right side of the trail where the attack happened. He said the walking stick was about 1 to 2 inches in diameter. I mean, when I tell you it wasn't close, I mean, when I saw the picture of him, he was like this big in the picture from where the policeman was standing, or the deputy was standing taking the picture of the trail. Like, it was a good distance. I don't want to speculate on how many feet it was because I don't know, but it was a pretty good distance. He reported it on Monday. They had questions. The one he wanted to be give him the most accurate information. Again, he spotted what he thought was a blonde beard, saw a man in the tunnel area. He only saw him for about 30 seconds. Actually, when they clarified, he said it was about 2 seconds. But it like, he saw the gray sweatshirt, the hood was up, the glasses were on. He said he was very literal in the 2 seconds, and he felt very uncomfortable with the eye contact. And when he saw the person in the woods, that person stopped and froze as if they were caught doing something. And then that ended Mr. Stacy's testimony. I'm telling you, that guy stayed today, and he was quiet and somber. And I really, truly, I just, my heart goes out to him because he was a hero in what he did. He did all the right things. He reported it immediately when he figured something out. He has to live with that. And hi, Chico. He has to live with that. And
can I ask a question real fast about that?
Yeah.
So the way that Mr. Stacy explained everything, in your opinion, or did the court indicate in any kind of way, does that lead to maybe an element of like premeditation? Because you just said right there, him lying in wait, like he's up there.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
It wasn't necessarily lying.
It was 88 degrees. Who wears a hoodie with sunglasses in the woods with a huge walking stick?
And that's what they said too, right? Something like I think he and his his partner, girlfriend, I'm sorry, I don't know if they're married or not.
No, I don't know that they're together.
But from what I understood too, that like they were like kind of like this trail, you walk it, and it's kind of like they were like, it's kind of rare to see someone, maybe especially that time of year, with a walking stick. Like you just don't.
Well, no, it's not rare to see someone with a walking stick. That's okay. It's rare to see someone standing in the woods with their hoodie up and their sunglasses on, way off the trail, looking menacing. That is what made him uncomfortable.
Did they what was the word I kept hearing? I think you even told me it's like something not only like spooky about it, but sneaky, and
I just thought it was eerie. I just thought it was eerie. It was creepy. It was like his interaction was creepy. So then we move on to Lieutenant. I have a hair. Sorry. Lieutenant Brandon Underhill. He was great. And I've actually seen him on the trail personally. He's been, when everything happened with Rachel, he was one of the ones who would patrol in the Gators. Now he's a watch commander, a day watch commander, and he's been there for 24 years. He's been promoted about a year ago. Prior to that, he was on patrol. I don't know what, I shouldn't even say. He was something sergeant crime
You told me.
I got it. He's a sergeant for the crime investigation unit for property crimes. That's what it was.
My notes are worse than yours. I mean,
so at 8/6, he got a midday task. A missing person was responding to William Street, the CID division, which is the criminal investigations unit, basically. Hey, you're new here. Do you think that this trial is not televised in order to prevent? No, I don't. I think the trial is not televised because they don't televise trials in Maryland at all. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with that.
That's a good question for those who don't know.
Yeah, it really doesn't have anything to do with the lack of attention. It's just Maryland doesn't televise any trial. So no. He does look like the Unabomber in the bush. Yeah.
When Tia called to tell me, though, it was crazy to hear this, because we both said it brought back, we're going, oh my gosh, like everything that we did months and months and months ago, even noting, but never
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, and we never, nothing was confirmed or stuff, so we are careful with what we say, but it all came flooding back, and I was like, are we kidding right now? Okay, keep talking. Sorry.
Yeah, when they called him up, I was like, whoa. There was a lot of whoa today. So this is where something has changed in the trial. And So, um, so we're talking about Lieutenant Brandon Underhill. Great guy. Just so well spoken, very clear, concise. Like, these guys are the best of the best. I know we live in a, oh, sure. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Real Kels. I really appreciate you just being here. I truly do. I honest to God, I'm thrilled that you're here.
Thank you.
He just is these guys are, it's a little tiny town, right? Bel Air's tiny. They had a national spotlight on them and they never quit. They're just, I cannot tell you, they are the best. And I am so glad that they're our little town, our little county. These guys are number one, and that's not an exaggeration. They are amazing. So 30 to 40 minutes after arriving, they found Rachel's body, and the nature shifted to recovery and investigation. There's other detectives there investigating. He walked down to the incline and then placed yellow tape around the crime scene, part of the woods, to, kind of keep people off the path. Oh, you have a question about day 2. Hold on. I don't recall you mentioning Victor acted all. Did he look at them? Yes. Yes, he looked at them. He has no emotion. He doesn't care. He has no remorse. Zero. This is how it looks when he looks at them.
I will tell y'all, when Tia calls me, that's pretty much the first thing, like kind of the first thing you give me right in the morning. Like, we talk kind of before she gets to trial, and then it's like that first break, I'll get an update. And I promise y'all, every single time it starts off, she was like, I want to smack the smug right off his face. He's in there. And today she was not happy. First of all, the whole like sidebar, and I get the call and it's like whispering, and she was like, and he's loving it. He's
fixing his tie and tucking in his shirt and fixing his belt, fixing that hair. The ladies, they're all in there, and I'm like, God,
he is not. That's it. Like, there wasn't even anything today about how the defense walked in. I don't know if they had a binder, a clipboard, a tote box. I don't know anything, but I can tell y'all, Tia was like, this SOB.
He is awful. He's
diabolical. Awful. And just
there is not zero remorse.
No remorse.
Yeah, he's got his earbuds in there. He has he smiles. Just looking around, smiling. Shifty.
I'm trying to do this while you do that.
We are not sharing space. I am very aware of like the air that I'm breathing around him, that we share that same oxygen. It's weird. It is so weird to look at him, preening and, and to think he did these terrible things to this beautiful woman. I can't. So anyway, I digress. Let me get to this is where things get a big change happens here. So they yellow tape off the area. They're checking for evidence. They found a wide range of evidence in their line search. They walked the line. You look at your feet, and they went from east to west on the side of the trail. And they did that basically, until they continue to find stuff. After all evidence recovery was needed, they cleared. Oh, this guy was so cool. You have a question. Hold on, Chico. Let me get that.
Yeah,
I don't want to be disrespectful and bring any political to the conversation. Do you think he's being cocky? No. And you. Oh, I just gotta hold on. I
gotcha. Sorry, Chico. I pinned yours and
Juror
then
dismissed. Hold on, I just got this. Juror dismissed during how Rachel Warren. Okay. He's not going to get deported. He is going to serve his sentence right here. And you don't ever have to worry. Listen, Chico, if our mods ever delete you, call me. They never would. They love you. They would never delete you.
If they ever deleted Chico, I'd be like, no, for real then. What did she say? What? Like, no, you're good. I'm glad you asked.
There's no question that's off limits. The answer might be, but the question is never off limits. Ever, ever, ever. I might have to sidestep, but you get that. You know how that rolls. Mm-hmm. So this guy was so cool. Brandon Underhill, Lieutenant. I should say that. Lieutenant Brandon Underhill. He went in the tunnel and took a bucket, took some spring water from the stream there and cleaned the tunnel from the feces and the blood and all the things. He took a few minutes after everything was done and cleaned that area because he knew that looky-loos were going to come in, and he did not want people to see that kind of crime scene left over. I thought that was kind of special that he did. You know, they have crime scene units that come in and clean, but I
just thought it was so interesting when you told me about it too, that it was so specific that he literally just, when everything had been collected and cleared and they have what they need, the crime scene's being cleared, that
he took time.
He had a bucket and used the spring water to get the feces and the fluid, everything out of there to the best. Yeah. And
he
I was
took
just
5 minutes of his own time and I thought it was the gesture. And maybe it's part of his job. I don't know. If it is, what a class act that they do anyway. But it was a momentous thing. It was a small gesture that turned out to be a momentous thing in my heart because I thought, that was nice. So anyway, here's where things changed. So 7 p.m., it started getting a little bit darker and the scene was, they were done. Follow up a week later on the 14th, Jewel and Thuma from CID went to the path. They parked at the Lerodendron Mansion, which is right there. We probably have to pull a map to show you. And the parking lot is there. They parked at that parking lot and walked down the trail. Now, when you walk down that trail, and we're going to play this video for you later, so you guys are going to know this. For those who haven't been there, I do too, Shifty. I do too. Just the time it took was it was a thoughtful gesture in a shitty time.
But I wonder if that's also almost a way for him too to kind of be like, respect Rachel as well, after being there. Dignity. And it's like you have your work hat, your investigator hat on. Not that he still doesn't at that moment, but then it's a moment that it's like, okay,
it was a human act.
It was a human act. So, thank you. That's all I wanted.
That's exactly what it was. I agree. I missed the feces thing. Did the perp? No, he didn't smear it. He went in the tunnel, 19 feet in. Just a few feet away from Rachel. That everything he did to Rachel, that is the thing. Oh, my lovest. Thank you. Thank you. He did give Rachel back dignity and grace and humanity. You're right. You're absolutely right. He needs some humbling. Yeah, I hope prison does humble his ass.
Tia, real fast.
Makes it like the Lincoln damn tunnel.
Do you want me to get that one? Yes, there is a sketch artist in there, and we can put all those in a folder and upload the ones that have been made public.
There was a sketch artist, and no questions, silly. I told you, ask the questions. This is a place to ask them. Thanks, Chico. So don't be shy about asking questions, please. If you have them, I will do the very best I can to answer them. What was the question again? I got sidetracked there. What was the question? Yes,
the artist.
there was. Now today I did not see her, so she might not be there every day. But thanks, Kels. You are so pretty. I keep looking at your picture and I'm like, she is really pretty. There was a sketch artist. I didn't see her today, but the first day of the trial, she was definitely in there, and she did some really incredible sketches. She's talented and the only one around that does them. So on the 14th, detectives Jewel, Thuma, and Underhill went back. They parked at the Lerodendron Mansion parking lot, entered the trail, and were just looking for evidence. There was a couple things that they were like, maybe we should look around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And looking for okay. So what they were looking for, and this is where it got interesting, was they were looking for cell signals in the area. So during the time since Rachel's passing, and hi Aussie, what are you sorry to ask?
No,
What
DNA?
DNA?
I got it.
They found different types, all different types of DNA.
And they took
all
several
different
places.
swabs.
And T explained to me on the phone too that there are different kind of swabs. Like some, would you say like some that they purposely put?
Yeah. So how they do the DNA swabbing is really interesting. They do two swabs. They do one wet and one dry. And one wet is a clean swab, sterile swab in sterile water, sterile bag. And they take the swab, they wet it and they get their DNA and they put it in the bag, in the container, and then in a bag, and then in another bag. So it's supersonic sealed. They were the main investigators. Yes. And then they take a dry one and do the same thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they seal it, they take their sample, they seal it in the container with the container in plastic, and then another plastic bag. And then it's stored and sent to the Maryland State Police crime lab. That's who does the DNA testing. Harford County can collect it, but they can't test it. They don't have the equipment to test it. What a weirdo. Sounds like a dominance thing. Yes. Mm-hmm. Degradation. Yep. I think they're sending a message. Yep. Yes. He is an animal. And that's exactly what I said, Lori. That's exactly what I said. I said I was so disturbed that he did that. First of all, who does that? Who does that?
No, it's been a hot minute, I think, since we have ever heard of a case. I mean, well, first of all, when you said it, when that was another like, wait, what moment? Like the shovel today was like the wait, what thing.
Ah, we haven't got there yet. Hold on.
Tia, the other day, Tia was like,
"You're putting the cart before the horse."
No, I'm just meaning that was such a surprising thing, that it was so degrading that he defecated. The way you told me, it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. So what they had done is they had pinged the area, and when they pinged the area, they were getting a cell signal in this specific area of the Lerodendron going down the trail there. And they wanted to see if they could find a device. Now, they weren't still getting it, but they noted it during the time of, the attack or whatever. And as they were going down about 75 to 100 yards left of the mansion trail, they found a shovel. Do you want to show the picture?
Sure. Keep talking and I'll get the pictures. You keep talking and doing your stuff. I'll grab the pictures.
They found a black shovel with a orange tip on it. Now, if you remember just a few minutes ago, you heard that Mr. Stacy testified that someone in the woods, this mysterious man who was in the woods, yes, he did shift. Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. I saw the picture. And yes, that was tested for DNA, by the way. 75 to 100 yards off, they found this black shovel lying in the woods. What was interesting, they said, was they had a lot of, it was left about 10 yards lying face down. It was 100 yards from, oh, I know what that is. Okay, so I'll go back to the 100 yards, but it was a black shovel with an orange tip to it handle, left 10 yards off the trail face down. It was, he called it unused, which meant not faded. It wasn't cracked. It wasn't well used. Like our shovel is probably 20 years old and it's, whatever.
God, yeah.
The top of it was lying on top of the ground, not under any leaves or anything. So they were calling it fresh, if you will. There was no vegetation growing around it. It was just, it looked like somebody had just dropped it. Basically new. Yeah. And then they showed pictures of the spade or shovel, whatever you want to call it. And during this, one of the jurors, which I will not give the number, one of the jurors turned around and looked at Victor. And I was like, oh, I caught that. So then there was, they showed pictures from the trail, how far it was, closer up, just pictures of the shovel. So Lieutenant took a latex glove, a latex evidence glove, collected the shovel, held it out, got it up to the parking lot, and put it into evidence. Crime scene it went from crime scene investigation to a forensic. They had a lot of weather. So I can't remember what night it was, and I'd have to go back and look. There's the shovel. Can you get the handle?
Yep, we got it. I did that before. Sorry. And I can zoom in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. Oh, sorry. So yeah, there's the shovel. Now, in going back and describing some of the wounds that happened to Rachel, she had a 6-inch gash. 6 by 6 inch gash in her skull, which now they were asking a few days ago, could this have been done by a rock or the cement in the tunnel? And the answer was yes, it could be. But we didn't know at the time what the weapon was. Now we're learning potentially what we're going down this road is, here's your murder weapon.
Hold on, I'm making a note to remind when you were done. I have a question about that for later.
So Sunday there was a storm. Now we go to cross-examination, training techniques. Train knows what's important, what evidence isn't. No one in the area of the shovel. So he just decided to investigate it. Found the shovel, black shovel handle, orange tip. It was 1 to 2 inches in diameter and 4 to 5 feet long. That's exactly what Mr. Stacy described. The shovel was not brought in. It was in evidence and the pictures were shown. It is horrific. It is so horrific. Was there any searches between 8/6 and 8/14? He doesn't remember. He's not sure. Why did you follow up? He obtained cell phone data that pinged in that area. Was there a device found? No. How far was Rachel's watch found? Wasn't it found in that area? No. It was found about 300 yards out. Whoops, too much. Yeah.
I got it. Sorry.
About 300 yards away was her watch. Nowhere near the tunnel. Nowhere near the shovel. Okay. So they never located the pinging source. the map. Then they show a map of where Rachel was found and where the shovel was. You go up the hill to the parking lot, the neighborhood. It was a lot of single family home. When you go up that area and leave the parking lot, single family homes, it's a neighborhood. And what would make it ping in that area? And the defense is trying to say it was the Apple Watch, but that was so far away. Sidebar. We had a sidebar for a minute, and then Detective Phil Golden came up. I like this guy, and I've been hearing about him for a year and a half. Thanks, Exiled. I love that you wrote that. Thank you very much. Detective Golden is the absolute lead on this case. He is head honcho, big deal in charge, but you would never know it. He is the most soft-spoken, direct, cool dude. Oh, hey, welcome. Thank you.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. Welcome. I'm not even looking at, I was not paying attention at the chat. I was looking for the photos. I apologize.
So detective works for CID, started in August of 2001, no law, Ellie prior to that. He works more serious cases or more time-consuming cases, domestic violence, drugs, crimes against children. His particular specialty is crimes against people. Crimes against persons, as they call it. He was notified by email about Rachel at some point. But actually Maddox, his supervisor, you know what? It's funny, Lori, because I'm glad that you said that. Initially, I thought maybe it was destroyed on purpose after the attack. And that's what I said the other night. But I think you're right. I think she had a lot of bruising on her left wrist. And I think it was because of that, because of the defensive wounds. So I'm actually really glad that you said that, because I wanted to correct myself on that. So thanks for bringing that up. I do think it was done during the attack.
And if y'all look too, I mean, Tia's seen my watch and stuff, but it's that, granted, I can hit my wall and stuff and it doesn't pop off, but it's just literally, mine's the same kind of band, like my workout band. Mine's navy with pink dots on it, but like it just pops in that one, you know.
It's just her standard watch band. Yeah, it's just the Apple Watch band.
But I just was letting them see, because that's what I was showing while you were talking.
So Maddox, the supervisor, makes him the lead on the Rachel Morin case. He has to go to the scene with the forensic team, interview witnesses, and essentially solve the case. That's his job. Those are the three things. So at 3 a.m., he gets a call to go in. He's the detective on duty that night. At 3 a.m., he gets a call. By 4 a.m., he's in the office in Forest Hill. This is at 8/6 in the very early morning of 8/6. And he starts to conduct interviews. And it was a missing persons case. His first interview was Mr. Tobin. That was Rachel's boyfriend. And he was very forthcoming with information, forthcoming with DNA. Whatever you needed, Mr. Tobin was just, find my girlfriend. What can we do? And then Rachel's second daughter was the next interview. Last communication and habits are what they were looking for, day-to-day life, information, and she was able to give that to him. She was able to aid in answers for that. They took her car, which was still in the parking lot at William Street. What?
Oh, I said, I was like William Street. I was agreeing with you.
And they took her car and they towed it to their office for evidence searching. They took it from the trailhead to their lab, if you will. Her car was parked in the third or fourth spot along the trailhead, and it was a green SUV. She actually drove a Dodge Journey. And they brought it into the bay at their office and started to search and photograph the car. What they started to figure out when they searched the car was they had their timeline begin in there. They had found a receipt for Target, and she had stopped by Target at 6:42. So they were able to establish she was okay. Well, she, we don't know where she is yet. And then, but they were able to see where she was, if you will. They couldn't find her, but they were able to see where she was to hopefully figure out where she is. So then they had receipts in the car. Inside the car was her AirPod case, her wallet, and receipts. In the center console was her wallet and her AirPod case. They moved some papers around and you could see the case better. After the search, they went back to the parking lot to look for her, and no success in finding her. Deputies, investigators, search managers, drones, canines, all were out at the scene looking for her. They continued to contact family members, and they started to put her picture. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, you just talked about Violet going to the thing.
No.
We cool.
They had no success in finding her. Deputies, investigation, search managers, drones, and canine units were out there. They contacted family members to ask more questions. That's when they started, contacting children, etc. And they put her picture out on social media. They spoke to the eldest daughter, and the eldest daughter said it was very uncommon for them, for Rachel to not have contact. She was very concerned. The nature of the investigation changed when the citizen found someone in the tunnel. He happened to be at the lot for this. This is Golden, right? So he went to the location. He was the one who...
Okay.
What is happening? He was the one who actually went in and looked for the white female inside the tunnel who was attacked, checked her position and condition of the body, and she was unclothed. He secured the scene and the foot traffic stopped. Hang on one second. Right. Thanks. Tunnels map. So they're showing maps of her, the location, how you get there. Okay. So we're talking about pictures that are being shown. Right side of tunnel observed. Anything. Oh, they found, when they were looking for evidence, they found blood on rocks and a water bottle. As he's going through, looking around, he also found a shoe and sock and two hairs in a briar bush. He collected those hairs for evidence, and put markers down for the blood that he saw. More pictures, markers of the... Okay, so do you want to show the markers of the trail?
Yep, I got it. Keep going.
An angled right led to the tunnel. Halfway, he has a picture. And I will show you. I actually found a new video. Let me hang on one second. Let me pull that up because it actually talks about this.
Do you want to share yours first before I show you the images?
Yeah, let me just I'll show you this really quick since we're on the subject of it. Let's see if I can find it. And then I will show you. All right, well, cancel that. Let me do this again. We'll just share screen. All right. So this is actually Heavenly Waters. That's the name of the stream. This was taken June 21st, 2024, around 8:30. No, 6:08 at night. So a little bit earlier. Special Agent Legend. But around the time, if you will. This is walking off the path to the tunnels. But you can see how I wanted you to see how green and lush this was. This was Heavenly Waters.
And keep this image in mind right there is a great, the way Tia just that camera just faced will help.
Oops,
you're going to notice it again. You'll notice it again in the pictures, the exhibits that were shown with the markers on it. You know, the way you just turn that your camera looking back up towards the trail. It's very, very helpful.
Right here, this was crazy to me. This is now almost a year after the attack on Rachel Morin, and there's still gloves out there. Still rubber gloves out there from the crime scene. This area is walking towards the tunnel. Now, here's what's crazy. You can't see the tunnels, but they're right in front of me.
I literally had to do a double take right then. I was like, wait a minute, I should see them.
You should. They're there, but you don't see. And this is what I'm talking about. This is part of the blood trail. These are the bushes that are like the pricker bushes or thorn bushes.
There are those tunnels. Now I can see it. And this is what we consider the deer trail, correct? Like the quote unquote.
Okay. See how they just come up? This is the spot where Cecilia stopped. This is the, hey, thanks, Wheel. This is also where the trail of blood was. Look how lush it is, though. You could not see those tunnels from the trail. Mm-hmm. Above those is Route 24, where cars go above it. That actually goes into, that's the tunnel she was found in. I just wanted to show you how thick the brush was there. It was very difficult to see. Oops, why am I doing that? Remove. It was very, very difficult to see. Thanks, Wheel. Do we know who got the memberships by chance? Is anyone in? Let me see.
Let's see here. Petunia.
Yay, Jennifer.
And Jennifer Hiney-Hole.
Jennifer
and
Elizabeth Solet. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Cat's Eye.
Is that, here we go, Tia. Here's one for you.
Sorry, hold on. Let me get back to my screen. Is that part of Heavenly Waters Cemetery, a really old cemetery for unidentified or forgotten? I don't know the answer to that. Where is that cemetery? I don't know. I'll have to look that up because I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. Hi, Cat's Eye.
I'm going to share the images now, if that's okay, since you just played your video. So you can keep talking, but I want them to see.
So Where was I? I don't even know. There's so much going on right here. So, I just wanted to make sure that you understood. What it looked like during that time. So after the switch, this is where Pricker Bush. That's what it is. You can see the right tunnel, but you couldn't see the left in that video, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw in the video that area.
Mm-hmm.
You're usually in the bushes. I'm glad you're out of the bushes. Thanks for coming in to say hi. That's really cool. It really, you guys have no idea when people say like, I'm usually in the bushes. You know, I'm just coming up, like, that makes me so happy that you finally got comfortable enough to say hi. I love that. That was the trail. So up on the top up here, I know you can't see it, but right there is the trail. And this is the trail of blood where she was brought down. I don't know if she was dragged or carried. But there was blood all the way down there.
Let me up at it.
Blood on rocks, evidence containing.
May I share the blood on rocks since you just mentioned that was another one with the tags on it? It has the tags on it. You don't see anything. Oh my gosh, never mind. Yes, you do.
No, I don't know. It's pretty. Yeah. So after he collected, or after he assisted in leaf collection, he processed the scene, took leaves, gathered things together for evidence, and where the blood trail began off to the right of the trail. We just showed you that. To the trail ran from the tunnel all the way to the tunnel itself, off the trail to the tunnel, somewhere in Harford County Cemetery, dates back to 17. Oh, okay. That's cool. Lori, we'll have to look that up. I need to find that out. What did Chico say? I told you the other day, you hold space. Oh, thanks for saying that. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
I wish if I were in court right now and they had been showing, if I'd been able to be there, I'd have like such an urge to almost like raise my hand to be like, wait, I have a question. Because
that's frowned upon.
Yeah. And I'm doing it now, but I don't want to ask if it's something that you don't want to.
What is it?
Or,
we'll put it. Yeah, I mean there's some that are pictures that are a little graphic that I just don't know that we need to show.
But to me, like, it took me a second. It just looked like it didn't. It's not bright, y'all. I will be honest. It's not like bright red or anything like that. It looks very similar to what I just showed y'all. The one of the trail of where they had the markers lining it. But up there, it seems like my marker number 14, I think, is one that's in one of the very beginning of this, obviously this 150-foot trail. And so that makes me think like, gosh, like, she wasn't, like, it just breaks my heart because we've always talked about it, of her getting off of that, like how he got her off that trail, and where it looks like he didn't even get that far off before things just continued to get worse. Does that make sense? You know, where just because of the location of that, and it's closer in that 150-foot line.
So they were trying to get things done. After they collected all the evidence, the swabs were taken to recover DNA evidence. That was their most important thing. I told you the other day, getting Rachel swabbed and getting all the DNA off the walls, what have you. That was super important to them because they knew they had a serious situation. All situations are serious. This was particularly graphic, gruesome, brutal, and they knew they had someone who was really twisted out there, and they were trying to get the information to the Maryland State Police Crime Lab. So it was sunny and warm, but the weather was going to change, and around dusk, They finished about an hour prior to weather coming in, then 2 to 3 days after they had another really heavy storm. And I remember that storm. We actually lost power for a few hours on that. It was really, really bad. The time of we can call TOD at 7:09. That's when everything really, the shit hit the fan, if you will. Surveillance video, phone data, and watch data all contributed to that line of thinking. Then they went and got video, which we're going to hear about that, video of Rachel leaving Target. And then we found out she also went to Wawa at 6:29. She went to Wawa first at 6:29, and then she went to hi Karen. Also, hold on. All right. Oh, are you? It does hit. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Thank you for coming in, though. We really appreciate you being here. Truly. So we have a screenshot that we were shown of Rachel leaving Target and heading out. There were several exterior views of the store with her car exiting Target as well. She went to Wawa, and there were several videos from businesses around the trail that also caught her. Thomas Wagner and Associates. We saw a video of her driving by there. That's not far from the trail. Independent Brewing Company had video of her pulling into the lot. And then we had a sidebar. And then it was lunchtime. And we came back, and Detective Golden is still on the stand. And we had surveillance. Oh, this was cool. We had surveillance video of I'm actually not going to give the address. We had surveillance video. If you're going down the path, on the right-hand side, if you're going from William Street to 24, on the right-hand side, there's houses that line. And we have pictures and videos of the houses. One of those houses on the side, as I was walking down early on, I spotted the cameras. And I was like, that guy has cameras. And I took pictures of all the cameras around his house, like the stalker that I am. But of course, Harford County was way ahead of me. They already had this. But they, before we get to that though, they do have surveillance video of her pulling in the lot between 6:58 and 6:59, headed to the trail. One of the houses on the right. Forensic examined the shoe picture outside. Oh, so there was a shoe. Rachel's left shoe and sock were found outside the tunnel. Blood items, the water bottle, along with the blood trail, all had blood on it and were taken for DNA. The phone and the watch were given to Megan Waltemeyer in forensics, and they contacted family and friends with no leads. They canvassed. They did social media platforms. They looked, cell information was examined, and no leads were found. A tip line was established at that time, email and phone, and immediately tips started coming in. They had over 1,000 tips. Some of them were duplicates, but they had 1,000 tips, over 1,000 tips. They listened to everyone. They read every single one, and they interviewed every single one. Then they went back to Kyle Stacy on the 7th, and he was interviewed in the office. I told you that at Forest Hill. DNA swabs, fingerprints were taken. her nails, how they cut your nails, and a blood card. What a blood card is her blood type and DNA. Oh, thanks for coming back. A blood card was done. The ME takes care of that, and that was sent back with Rachel. Latex gloves were used and swabbed the mouth, sealed to process. This was consensually given by Mr. Tobin. In fact, all of the DNA that was asked for was consensually given. Everyone volunteered. Sure, take my DNA. I don't care. Blood card, normal process, profile. Okay, so DNA was done. They then, once the DNA was run through CODIS, and we have that video on it's a short on our homepage of how they did that. The DNA was run through CODIS and they got a hit. That was when we got the video of Victor leaving the LA house. So we had DNA and we had sort of a picture, but we did not have a name. Harford County released that to the public. They also took still photos, screenshots of that, and canvassed the area. They released it to social media and the news. They went around the trail, the lot, the entire community of Bel Air. They had a small flyer with that picture on it, a Hispanic male. They took a Spanish interpreter with them to canvass. They knew individuals and knew people. They did 4, no less than 4, maybe more canvases. They 612 was the one of them that they did. I have all the dates they have here. 612, they did several hours each time. Then they did a sidebar. DNA consent, yes, every individual gave a sample. All were consent. We have names of the ones. They were Hispanic males given in the area who consensually gave their DNA. Also, there was a guy named, I'm just going to give you the first names because I don't need to dox these people out. Henry, Carlos, Matt McMahon, who was the father of Rachel's oldest child, and Richard were all given their DNA, swabbed for DNA, and, eliminated immediately. There was one guy who gave his sample who knew Rachel, and they investigated him, but he had an alibi. He was in Delaware. He was nowhere near. They had cell phone data from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T, and they had Rachel's data history and her phone history. They took devices around the crime scene and still had no leads. Agencies that were assisting, we got cut off there, but we know who it is. It was Maryland State Police, FBI, Harford County Sheriff, anybody and everybody. Tulsa, they helped. Cross-examination started. They went through his resume, got the call at 3 a.m. What they started to do and what I felt like they were trying to do was, and as soon as Kyle Stacy said it was a blonde beard and a big build, 6 foot broad, I was like, we're going for Richard again, which is so ridiculous because let's take a second here and say it wasn't Richard. His DNA was taken and wasn't matched. Richard came in for an interview. Daughter number 2 came in for an interview. And they had a sidebar. DNA ruled him out. But based on relationships, they took all the DNA. Daughter number 2 was questioned. They conducted a search. Popular trail. They wanted to know if the foot traffic was stopped. And it was stopped. From the head of the trail to the scene of the crime. There was no one there were initially people on the trail, but once they found Rachel, that all stopped. Maddox was in patrol. They secured the scene. Not sure of how big the radius was. Anyone who was on the trail was actually escorted out, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like I said, it was from the lot to the tunnel, just past the tunnel. Upon arrival, this is, like I said, this is Detective Golden on Cross. He saw blood on the leaves. And then they were like, did you get blood on you? He was like, no, it was on the ground. He saw the shoe and sock. He collected the hair, found the shoe. After the body, he interviewed the witnesses. He didn't actually interview them, but he was part of it. They all worked together. Interviewed various businesses. They expanded the area and the radius out. So initially, with geography, you're like, you want to stay close to the scene, etc. But then as things happen, they kept going out further. He was asked if they did geofencing, and he was kind of like, what are you talking about? There was an objection that never got answered. Did you have a warrant for Rachel's searches? You didn't need a warrant for searches. They did a carrier dump, call history, and that was all provided. Her social media was looked over, and anyone in her contacts was looked over to see if they could, if there was any crossover. There was no, they didn't find any. Redirect, how's the business around the trail, no connection, recall witness. Then the delightful Megan Waltemeyer came up, and I really enjoyed her. She's a forensic data examiner for Harford County Sheriff's Office. She's been there for 8 years. She was just like the perfect, like when you saw her, you're like, yes, she's data analysis, but not in a geeky way, in like the most, God, what was that show? She just fits the bill. Like you could see her in her lab coat. She was adorable. They went through her resume. She's actually not a sworn officer. She's a civil officer, if you will. She's part of the forensic team. She got her associates from Harvard Community College, and her forensics science degree from University of Maryland, Baltimore, in 2016. She has so many certifications and letters behind her name. I will not read them all. 2, 4, 6. I would say maybe 10, 12 certifications and awards that she's received over the years. She's amazing. She's done work on 614 devices, and I'm trying to see. She was declared an expert witness and did receive a civilian award. She does digital forensic. She's in the digital forensic branch. She collects, analyzes electronics, phones, USB external drives, digital media, surveillance, computers, phones, the whole thing, vehicle infotainment systems. She does it all. On 8/6, she heard that Maddox called her and told her that there was a missing person, and to obtain video from Bel Air Target. So she went at 10:37 a.m. to the customer service, told them the time and date from the receipt, and asked to see their video surveillance. They sat down, they found it, they collected it, and the gentleman in there had 8 videos and 2 screenshots for her. She was at the checkout and her car. Then she went to the Splish Splash car wash. But they really didn't have anything there. She went to Independent Brewing, no video, no evidence, evidentiary value. She had trouble exporting, so she went back. Independent Brewing, she went to the bartender and saw video surveillance there. They did have a weird camera angle that got her going into the Williams Street parking lot. Time sometimes is a little bit off on surveillance. You know what I mean? And in the case of the Independent Brewing, they were 31 minutes off. So, while it said on the screen she came in at 6:19, she actually arrived at 6:50 on the parking lot. Then they found Rachel. They located Rachel on the scene, located her cell phone, and her boss, Brad Gaynor, called and said, I found the phone. It's shattered and damaged in water. How do you want it? She told him, do not take it out of the water. Collect whatever water you can. Leave it in there and double bag it and send it to me. She is so overqualified. I loved her. I really, really loved her. And they said, well, what told you to do this? And she said, all the training she's had says, if it's in water, leave it in water.
I'm going to bring up the phone images while you're talking, just so you know.
Oh, yeah. And if you pull it out of the water, oh God, I learned so many cool things about your phone in water. So if you pull it out of the water, the air will actually corrode the phone, and you don't want that. So you want to leave it in the water until she took possession of it. She took possession on Monday morning of the phone. The phone was in a plastic bag in water. Are you going to show that? Okay. Did you observe the phone? Yes. The screen protector, the phone, and everything was just broken. The first picture is of the front and back. This is evidence that was turned in. And when you look at the phone, and then it was on the side. Okay, so that one, go back one sec. So that one's actually the phone underwater. What you're seeing there is the ripples of the water, disturbance in the water. That's actually Rachel's phone underwater. And when they pull it out, you'll see, did you have the bag by chance? Do you have it's not in the bag. Okay. So that's the back of the phone. And then the other one is the front of the phone. You can see the damage that was done. And right in the area down in the center there on the bottom is the concentrated damage. So that's where it was really hit. And when you see a side picture of the phone, you see the phone's actually bent. And it was bent right at the battery there. She did not think it was going to be functional. It was the concentrated damage there. She really thought was just too much. What was her second step was to remove the SIM card and the tray and set that aside. And then she said, I just rebuilt the phone. I just rebuilt the phone. But she didn't have any guarantees of success. She was kind of like, I'm not sure about this one. The SIM was of no use to her. They basically put that aside. And it was just another spot for water to get in. So that she set that aside and then used 99% isopropyl alcohol and put the phone in the alcohol. Pay attention. This is important. Why would you put it in there? You just had it in water because it rapidly evaporates the water and there's no corrosion and no moisture. It sucks it right out. So due to that, they use 99% isopropyl alcohol and wiped off the SIM, put the phone in the alcohol in a bag and shook it. And they said, well, why did you shake it? And she said, because that gets the dirt and debris out of the little crevices, right? So it dispenses the water and dries it out. She set it aside and let it dry for 5 minutes. She disassembled the phone, removed the screen with a heat mat. And a heat mat, what it does is just melts the adhesive. So it just unlocks that adhesive. So it's really easy to just lift the screen right off of it. She could see the damage and still had debris, quite an extent of dirt and debris on some of the inside, and a little bit of corrosion where the impact was. And the battery was the one thing that was impacted. Internally, the main impact was the same area. So what she was saying is it opens like a book. Okay. So when you open it up, it opens like a book. And you have like this area here, we're going to call it right here. And it's a logic board. That is the brain of your phone. She main impact was at the same area on either side. She looks for the logic board, looks inside, opens it, finds the logic board, sets it aside. It looks in good condition. That's not where the impact was. So that was interesting. And she removes the components to get the logic board out. Again, the logic board is the brain of the phone. The battery is nothing. And she used, so then she used 50-50. This was so cool. I love the things that they use. Distilled water and fantastic cleaner to clean it off. She unscrewed the screws and pushed out the debris, cleaned it. And they have this, what do they call it? An ultrasonic cleaner. Like it's like a jewelry cleaner. Okay. The ultrasonic cleaner, it vibrates and pushes all that debris out. That runs for 5 minutes and shakes out the dirt. So she hung the logic board like in this hovering, she like hovered it in this ultrasonic cleaner with the 50% distilled water, 50% fantastic cleaner. It hangs in the solution by paper clips and gets it as clean as possible, getting the dirt and debris off the logic board. She had one shot to do this and she knew it. I mean, this girl is amazing. This girl is amazing. The pressure's on her. And I don't think she felt pressure. I mean, she was cool as a cucumber. I don't know. She was awesome. So it's suspended, it cleaned then she cleaned it again with 99% isopropyl. I can't talk anymore. Alcohol. And the water dried. She let it sit overnight to dry, and she wasn't sure. It was a wing and a prayer at that point, you know. It was like, not sure about this. She comes in the next morning and it's dried. She did not want to power it. The reason she didn't power it up that day before it was dry is because she knew she had to charge it. So she didn't want to charge it because potentially what can happen is that can shock the system, blow the whole phone out, right? So the next morning, she calls the Harford County Evidence Unit and gets a red Apple iPhone XR. The black XR is what Rachel has. She got a red one, like functional phone. Yeah, she did. She absolutely did. The comment that I heard about Rachel's injuries is that there was less that wasn't injured. Oh, hold on. Okay. She did fight. She did. There were more injuries than there were not injuries on Rachel, unfortunately. So the next morning she gets this red XR iPhone from evidence, right? And she takes that and she does the same thing. She opens the phone up and she's got one shot here. The phone case is damaged. The SIM card is damaged, blah, blah, blah. She takes a red phone, which she calls the donor phone, and she swaps them. She disassembled the good phone, removed the internal parts and the logic board, and replaced it with Rachel's logic board. And she charged it. And at that point, it's like you hold your breath and you see. She puts everything back in and she charged it and reassembled, charged, turned it on. And as soon as she turned it on, Rachel's wallpaper came up. Her wallpaper was a picture of herself. Beautiful picture of herself. So the red phone essentially then became Rachel's phone. What they then needed to do was find out the password. They had a potential password, but they weren't sure. So they contacted family and got a list of passcodes, and it worked. She put the phone in airplane mode to isolate it. So there's no network, because if you allow it to connect to a network, potentially all that new information will come through. They didn't want that. They wanted the phone to stop exactly where it did, and they wanted to collect based on what happened, during the attack. So, yeah.
So is this, I'm not trying to jump ahead or anything, but I'm trying to understand, is this when they established like a time for when her devices, including her phone, like the
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I just wanted to understand, is that how just trying to figure that out.
So she uses Celebrate to download the phone. And then we get Rachel's phone number. It's loaded into Celebrate, and the physical analyzer copies the phone onto her computer. The physical analyzer opens, and what it is text, phone, all the things that were on Rachel's phone essentially are now on Megan's computer. So she can use her computer to now go through everything, and all the data that the user uses, pictures, health, text, calls, is now on Megan's computer. Timestamps. So everything's in UTC code. So she set it to the local time setting. She ran a malware scan for Celebrate to make sure that, nothing was corrupted, and that was negative. She ran a hash match, which is, I can't even read my own handwriting now. It's like a digital fingerprint is what that is. And that is it's letters and numbers. How do they describe this? They keep the data integrity. It matched the software report. So it allows other officers. So this thing, she can then send a lighter version of what she has on her computer to Detective Golden and other investigators, so that they can see what's on the phone. They can see the text, etc., but it's just a lighter version of it. She ran two different reports, one for Axiom, one for Celebrate. It was the same report. Was there anything odd from the time frame? Yes. 7 to 8 was odd, and that was the focus timeline again. She viewed that. Scrolled to the bottom at the health data, and the hours are in chunks as she described this. So they're 1 hour chunks, like 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. And when it got to 7 to 8, there was a graph that was like wackadoodle, like all over the place. And 8 to 9, there was 2 dots, which meant no data. There was no graph and no health data from 8 to 9. So she knew she had to go back to 7 to 8 to get a graph to see. And during that time, between 7 and 8, she noticed the graph was concentrated between 7 and 7:10. And that piece was given to Golden. Now, what that graph consisted of is 10 minutes of data of interactive graphs that are from her health data from her watch to her phone. Okay. Steps, heart rate, energy, speed, all that is collaborated, in the phone. Energy is actually calories burned. So the last thing, she's taking pictures, calls, text times to match, all downloaded data matched in all her reports. Oops. It was an accurate representation of her phone. The Apple Watch was next on 8/15. And they showed the watch and the graphs, which LFT just put that picture up a few minutes ago. They charged that in the Faraday box, which is an isolation box. It has no network connection. Again, we don't want to add anything to that because you don't want to download any new information. You want to keep it. You don't want it functional. You want it to stop at that time so that you can then collect the data that you need, not any incoming data. Remove the straps. So when your Apple Watch, when you remove the straps, in the groove there is where your serial number and all that stuff is. And she was able to get that. She Googled it. The watch was paired with the phone and the same health was coming up on the watch. The texts were there. Extraction report was done. It was a thread of messages between Rachel and her number 2 daughter, Rachel and Mr. Tobin, and Rachel and her oldest daughter. The health data was graphs. That was the energy burn. That goes to the graphs. And this was all done from 7 to 7:10. Okay. So that's where that was. Then they showed a graph that she created of 5 boxes to easily track the graph. It was time, calories, energy burned. So the calories are actually counted in kilocalories. At 7:07, they were kilocalories, and you multiply that by 1,000 to get the calories burned. And then she did a spreadsheet for each one of these. She does a spreadsheet. Oops, there's another message. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Hey, good night, Tomboy Charm. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the chat. I apologize, you guys. I really do. I'm trying to get this info out. So it was the calories burned, the kilocalories, the time, the source, and the watch. And her watch was a Series 5. All was in there. All that information was there. Her heart rate was done on a spreadsheet from the hours 7 to 8. And other graphs were done, and everything is explained. Okay, heart rate, time, data, description, source, all is done on the watch. The phone, the watch, and is registering steps. That's another thing. So she did another graph with the steps, and the steps were done from 7 to 8:35 p.m. Now, if you know, we just talked about her time of death, and that was done on Celebrate. So 8:35 would be, what is he doing with her phone? All the data is in the watch. All the data is in the phone. She does a spreadsheet. And then she moves on to the headphones where the audio levels are then measured. And she went to raw info on that, download that, and that worked. From time of 6:53 to 7:06 p.m., audio levels on AirPods were measured. And oh, okay. So then that was, hi, risky business. What's going on? So then pause. So she runs all these reports and she's showing all these reports. And then in June 2024, she gets a second cell phone. Detective Golden received a cell phone from Oklahoma, a Samsung Gallery A15. Is that what it is? I don't have it as I don't do Android. A warrant was obtained for the phone and a search and seizure was done. It was not successful. They tried 6 times to get into the phone and they could not get in, so no data was recovered. They tried on 6/18, 6/20, 6/25, 6/30, 7/16, and 7/23. On 7/23, finally, the correct passcode was given. And software wasn't updated. They couldn't connect it. The SIM was removed. They did get the phone number. And she asked one of her lab associates, every time they do phone work, they have to go down to the city to do it. It was a Samsung Galaxy. I don't know why I keep saying Galaxy A15. So her associate had another phone that had to go down to the city to be tested. So she took the Galaxy and the other phone and to the lab to have them tested. And they analyzed the information and they realized that no contact between Rachel and what we now know as Victor, this was his phone, no interaction. They had no contact information. So there was a Facebook account, which I have the name for, his stupid whatever, another one of his lies. He had his Facebook account in there. There was no contact in there. Further analysis, and she did a lot of in detail stuff, realized that there was no connection between Victor and Rachel. There was no contact on the phone at all, not in her social media accounts, not in text, not in calls, nothing. So then they talk about the last text that Rachel sent and received. And this was heart-wrenching to hear because her last text was sent at 7:04 to her oldest daughter. Her last read message that she read was at 7:03. The last message that was sent that she didn't read was from daughter number 2. That was at 7:39. And that was the message that we heard the first day, which is, when are you coming home? That was crushing. She never read that message. Then it was cross-examination. They didn't have anything. And then the gentleman that lived in the house that I described with all the cameras, he actually came up and gave his testimony. He lives along the trail. His house backs the trail. And he has 6 cameras now. He had 4 at the time. And they focused on his backyard, northeast and southwest cameras. And they worked. The sheriff investigation was asking about Rachel and the cameras, and he offered the cam footage. He gave access to everything, and his time was all accurate. He gave all media to them, and it runs 24/7. He handed it all over, and they did show the video. You do see at the top of the video Rachel heading to the trail on both cameras. One covers his deck, one covers his patio. And he's added more cameras since. Again, they did not cross-examine him. Is that it? Oh my God, that's it? That's it. That was the end of the day. I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, questions. Who has questions? LFT questions? Yeah. We definitely want to show them. Absolutely. Yeah. Whenever you get back. 47 states allow filming and telecasting of some capacity, but it gets, oh, look at that. Interesting. Never buy Apple. Risk. What's your beetle? Until LFT comes back. While the cat's away, this mouse will play. I will show you a couple minutes of the video I did of the trail and kind of give you an idea until she comes back. So Rachel had no previous contact with him. She did not know him at all. It was completely random. It's not going to move. Okay. So this is coming from, this is a bit of the way down. This is actually past that house that I just told you about with the cameras. This is past that. This is actually coming up. I'm going to turn the sound off. And this was done August 5th at 7:04 p.m. a year after. This was the anniversary of Rachel. Oh, you do? You have both? You missed the shovel part? Was there any DNA recovered from it? They didn't say. I'm assuming yes. That is an assumption. Directly ahead right here is what I refer to as the overlook. When you go up, it's kind of blurry, but you get it. When you go up this incline right here, you can actually look down on the tunnels. And we have video. This video shows that too. This is the area of the switchback where Mr. Stacy saw Rachel. It was the anniversary, so people were leaving flowers and pictures for Rachel and of Rachel. But I really wanted to get the we think so, yeah. I really wanted to get how thick it was. This is the actual section right here. Whoops, where'd it go? Where Rachel passed Mr. Stacy. Which was interesting that this picture was there, I thought, because it's such a beautiful picture of her. This is the actual area right here. Boop. Whoops, where'd it go? Hold on. What did I do? Hang on. I just clicked the wrong button. Hold on. And I'm not really sure why I did that. Media types videos. Good gravy. You know, it's hard to find good help these days. All right, here we go. Especially when I'm the one who needs the help. So this is going to the footbridge. You can see people had left flowers for the anniversary. I kept leaving flowers. And what I want to show you here that's important. Again, this is Heavenly Waters. This is the footbridge that goes over. And there to the left, that goes right to the tunnels. That flows right down to the tunnels. Right there, whoops, I'm looking for my, right here is the path to the Liriodendron. Up in here is where the shovel was found. Okay. You're about to see how far away that is from the scene. So again, this path goes up to the Liriodendron parking lot, and up in here on this side is where the shovel was found. Somewhere, okay, so I'm just trying to like show how open it was in some areas. And this is, so, oh, you're back. Good. This is the area right there. I use this mile marker because this was the mile marker that they used, that Cecilia used. He had a shovel. He had a shovel.
I'm getting the images now. Sorry.
This is the area or the mile marker that was used for Cecilia to find when she dialed 911 for the police to find her. So again, looking in this area over here, somewhere over here, the man was hiding in the woods on the right-hand side over here somewhere with the shovel. This is where Mr. Stacy saw the guy in the woods, okay? I don't know specifically where, but it was in here somewhere. It was right in this area. He stepped on a branch and alerted Mr. Stacy. Mr. Stacy was very uncomfortable, and he and his girlfriend hightailed it across the bridge and up to, actually, I think it was this area right in here, because I saw the picture of it, and there's that down area, down log. So, this is what it looks like in August. This is what it looked like on the day that Rachel was attacked. The right-hand side goes to the tunnels. Pretty soon here, we're going to go off and veer to what we call the deer trail. And this is where the 150 foot, okay, right over here where we're looking is where her watch was found on that side. On the right-hand side, when we keep going over here by this log is where the tunnels are. Right here is the area, and this area right here is where she was attacked initially. Thanks, Shifty. With smoke pot. Oh, risk. This was where the attack happened initially. So she was hit, and then here's where the trail of blood starts, right here. And it goes, as you can see, remember the video I showed you before, this is Heavenly Waters. Do you see the tunnels? They're right here. Even though they're very hard to see until you're on top of them. So many people didn't know they were there, including police officers. And I think that's so crazy. This is the actual where we saw the markers. This is where that was right here.
I've got that picture up so we can show it to Risk or anyone else when you're done. But I've got it, I think the right one's pulled up for us. And sorry.
Again, the tunnels are straight ahead, but you just can't see them.
It's almost too like if anyone was just watching this video just and not knowing at all what happened, like I don't even know if you would notice like a moment or two ago when it panned as you're getting closer, even though the tunnel's there, like that round circle, that like I don't even think it would register. It just kind of looks like a dense, like, or just more like an open little part of like the wooded area, not so much until you get to like there. But I agree with
again, this is where Cecilia stopped, and she said it was partially, the left tunnel was partially blocked, but you could see the right tunnel. So she was standing right here when Evan said that they found her. Evan went to the edge of the tunnel, and this was all these rocks had so much blood on them. It was awful. This is the path that was taken, and Rachel was found in the left-hand side. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree, Delana. Rachel was found where this is right here, right in this area.
It is frightening, Chico. It is just ominous.
Mind you, I did not know this until Monday. So it's odd that I stopped in this spot.
And so that's interesting, so weird. Though, because it's interesting, though, to think where her watch is found in comparison. So it was found on the opposite side of the trail, approximately like what, 25 feet into the woods?
Yep.
And then the distance between the watch and then so that's where the watch was found. And then the distance between the watch and the shovel that they found was approximately, it was a couple hundred yards, approximately 300-ish yards. Okay.
Yeah. It was far. It was not close. So their digital data that they were trying to make fit into the peg of, Rachel's watch was not fitting into that peg.
That makes sense though. I mean, when you look at it like that.
To the left there is where her shoe was found.
To the left. Okay, to the left.
Left of the tunnel.
Does anyone else ever kind of do that? I put my hands up like I do. It's almost like you're doing like doing a photo like with your fingers, and it's always the L. Like I have to go left, right. The one that makes the L.
So just walking back again, like it's been a year and we're just honoring her in this area, but you can see the brush. You can now see where the I know.
I think that's right. I agree with that, Chico. I think
I scratched myself
on one of those prickly bushes, but it's not so much like in my opinion.
The picture that LT is going to show. This area was the where the blood came from. So the overlook is up there. Remember, that's why I was showing. Yeah. You could look down.
Yeah. So he's standing across right. Oh gosh, you can't see I'm like pointing at. I was like, so right there, right? But yeah, I got it. This is so helpful when you see it like this.
And then that's the trail in front of you. Boom. And that's where the blood trail was, right there. And LFT is going to show that picture in 1 second. She was found in the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, and Chip, that's an interesting question. And that's one of the things when Tia said questions, and I was like, well, I wrote down a few. One of the things that we've always been curious about, even in the early days of this, is wondering like, how did he execute this? Someone, granted, it was like a blitz
Violently.
attack. Would that be appropriate?
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's like a blitz attack. So, and I
Mhm.
do not think that he was, in my opinion, targeting her, but I do think he scoped this area as an opportunity, and it was like whoever ended up there,
Mhm.
like unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time, just without knowing. So it's interesting to me about the shovel because I was curious in court if they gave any indication as to whether like did he potentially hit her with the shovel and like try like to kind of render her
Unconscious or
locomotive,
whatever.
like, yeah, and to be able to then get her off the
Mhm.
trail. Because now understanding more of when you see, and like I said, sorry, y'all, I may have showed that one of the rock and you wouldn't have even known it. I didn't mean to show it because Tia doesn't want to show it, but like it is it's so eerie when you look at it. Like I just don't know.
That goes to 24, and now we're going to head back to
The William Street.
William Street this way. Yeah.
And okay, I think they mentioned, you said too, and I think some articles noted like potential things that resembled maybe drag marks at certain areas.
Well, that would be in the wooded area there to the right.
So
They called it a disturbance. Okay, so right here. Oh, sugar snaps. Let me go back because, whoopsie. Right there is where her watch was found. Right in this area, right in here.
Okay.
Because they used this culvert here as a marker. And you can't really see. I got to go back for you to see it, but the culvert's like right here. So off this side is where the mark or where her watch was found in the woods.
And then on the other side is where the little deer trail is that would lead down to the tunnel.
Right. Okay. But we're heading in the opposite direction now. So whoa.
I got you. Yeah.
All right. We don't need to see that.
No, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, I totally get it. It is so sad. He must have hid her and then hit her from her and then hit her with the shovel. That's what I think too.
That's what I'm starting to wonder as well, because I've always been so curious, because I would imagine like at some point, and I know this sounds horrible to imagine, but just putting on your investigator hat, researching critical thinking hat, it was like, did he kind of like, before we knew there was even a shovel or something, was like did he hit her with a rock and then like kind of drag her, like lift her up and like kind of just pull her, off the trail and down that way? That is one thing that I wish, like I don't think we'll ever truly know, maybe, but like I've always wondered that, because I think it just had to stun her so much. But then as she's trying to come to, and the medical examiners and the neuropathologists, right, who were there yesterday, they did speak about it, and it did help.
Me too, Shift.
It did kind of help. I don't know, the stages of what was happening. That kind of painted a picture of what was going on. But that one kills me. It's just that I don't. So
you guys just saw the video. Now you know exactly where it was. I know it was kind of amazing.
Trail right there. So and that's the main trail right there. So Rachel was running right this way, Tia, if I'm following, like, because she's running from William Street, right?
From William Street to 24.
So she's running that way, and then it's attack, and then it's like, look, this is where it starts. Like you can see the markers. And this is where Tia just walked and showed in her video.
From the trail. This whole thing is just a very long line, very long trail. And then again, it was 150 feet of blood trail. That's a lot.
I've got the picture for you. Oh, and then we do have, you want me to share the picture with I've got a side by side that has the phone on it, Tia, where you can see it bent. And then the next image to it.
That was interesting to see it.
Okay.
The impact.
And I didn't know that until Tia said that tonight. I sincerely, I had this picture, and I don't I didn't know about the curvature to the phone until Tia said it, and you do notice it. And it has the earbud too. Also with this, it's nothing graphic, just letting y'all know. And then Risk, I will show you the shovel. But do y'all see that? Like the curve, like you can see it.
Oh yeah, there's a side view of it that they showed in court that you could really, it was really bent. Like, let me actually.
But you can, but I get it now though, even looking at this, understanding that
it's like
bent, because you can even see
it really was like that. When you
can see at the bottom, Tia, at the bottom left corner of her phone, or maybe it's up, I think she's holding it upside down right now because it looks like the speaker part is at near the investigator's like palm with the glove. But you can literally see it's almost like the left bottom is popped out.
Well, I mean, you see the impact of it on the right-hand side there in the center. So,
yeah, and so that's
a screen protector. She had a screen protector on it. No. That's the like screen protector.
But it gives you the, like, I can notice it now, but I never realized the bend until you had said that. And it's not the picture that you were referring to, but I can visualize it and get the feel for it.
Dawn, me too. And yes.
And then Risk, here you go. Hold on, let me get this one. 1 second.
My dog is at the door crying. So if you hear, it's him trying to get in.
Wrong. Got it. All right, shovels right here. I just didn't want to show that rock one that you don't want to show. I keep going right past it.
Yeah, I just don't think that there's value. You know what I mean?
There's nothing. I agree. That's fine. That is totally fine.
This is the shovel. That's what he was carrying.
I can see how that would look like
a walking stick from afar.
Yeah, I can get that because it's thin. Like the it doesn't have a very thick diameter, and I could get that. I would, again, I would be a little surprised too, but I can understand that. And then I think I'll stop sharing, but I just wanted to. And then we do have a screenshot. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble finding it. I think it might be in our messenger, but the one when you were talking about the sorry, when you were talking about the phone and the messages, there's a screen, like one of the exhibits is shown. It's the black and white one, and it's if you look, I'm not sure which message that was. It said like it was normal delivery, nothing urgent, and I think it was maybe Rachel's last message out. I think it's between her and
we don't need to show that.
Yeah, that was the one that they showed that's available. I'm sure people, if you look online, like these are the images.
You can look online for that. There's certain things that I'm just not willing to give. If you want that information, you can do your own research, and I'm down with that. I have, like I talked about it the other night, I have strong feelings about releasing certain personal information. And I just don't, I feel strongly about that. Especially when we're talking about the kids. Adults fend for yourself, but the kids, I just get weird about that stuff. You can carry without a license. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. I just got my conceal and carry. I took the class in February, and actually, let's talk about that for a second. So if you're local and you want it, go to my guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah, aren't we supposed to be dropping that? Let me get his information.
We are now. I went to First Shot Firearms Academy. Jim is the guy that runs it, and I will put his card up here so you can see it. Take a screenshot, reverse it. But this guy is amazing. He taught me so much. I love him, and he made me confident. He made me confident. And if you're local, I suggest you call him first shot. Go get you can get your wear and carry, you can get your HQL, whatever you want. He's great though.
Can I put his website?
Thorough. What?
Can I put the website? Can I
Yeah,
drop the link to the
absolutely.
website?
Absolutely. He is fantastic. Why was the rock left on the trail? The rock that they showed in court that I did not see was like 25 pounds. So I don't think he was carrying it back. Yeah. Yeah. Now, also let me state that I don't know that it was just the shovel used. I think perhaps rocks were used as well. I think he was pretty indiscriminate with whatever he had on hand. I know, that's what I thought too, Lori. That's exactly what I thought. Somebody's going to see that on the news. Show that. Jim is the guy, and he's amazing. He's incredibly intelligent on every kind of weapon. And he made me feel so confident and so comfortable holding my weapon and teaching me how to use it. Go talk to him if you're interested and you're local in Maryland. Maryland is really tough on their laws here. So keep that in mind. We are one of the toughest states. So, but honestly, please, if you're interested, go look him up and take the class there. It's great. You won't regret it. Tomorrow on deck, the lineup is Delaware is the worst. The lineup is my girl crush, supposedly, I don't know this for sure. I don't know if she's tomorrow or Friday, but Tulsa officers may be coming in tomorrow. So my girl crush, Officer Delmont, who arrested him in Oklahoma. We showed the arrest or the body cam video the other night. She's amazing. She was such a badass. I really liked her. Hardly has any. So she may be on deck, other officers from Tulsa, and Victor's family is due on the stand.
It's expected, which is so interesting because we've never heard anything from them. It's, by the way, we don't know what date or specifically who will be attending. We know to potentially anticipate some members, but I did not see that coming. And when we read that last night, I was on the phone with Tia, and I was like, I'd be so curious to see the questions that are posed to them, the answers to them, and to just actually see them, because by no means do I think something of them because of what this but I'm actually, a part of me is glad that they are, I don't want to say taking the opportunity, but are willing to do. I'm glad they're willing to do it. And I do think that will add another perspective that we haven't seen yet.
Oh, do you see that behind me right there? That's the body bag we take to court. That has all the goods in it. Thank you both so much. Oh, of course. Of course. Now, I got to be honest with you guys. I am exhausted and I want to snuggle with this little guy right here. And I want to go to sleep. I'm tired and I have to, oops, I see a message I missed. Sorry, would you like? Yeah. Back chat, I just saw that. Go ahead.
Okay, so that was everything. And then random thing, the other thing we wanted to be sure. So obviously, thank y'all all for acknowledging Tia's birthday yesterday, and I'm glad that she had a good one. But today is actually Rachel's second oldest. It's her birthday. And she has done amazing since Friday. And it's amazing. And so we just want to make sure, like, please send good vibes and wishes that way, because
we did a little collection for her, and we got her an Amazon gift card, as well as a few other things that are going to her tomorrow. We're going to give them to family so that they can give it to her for her birthday party, which she's having on Saturday. But today is her actual birthday, and we send her all love and support, because during her young years, her teenage years here, she's fighting for her mother. So,
oh my gosh, is Dash getting in the bag?
No,
behind it.
He's behind it. He's behind it. So that's really all I have for today. I know I was speed read, trying to get that all in there. And I'm just so tired tonight that I cannot, I'm almost like weepy. Do you know the little girl meme where she's like putting her head down? She's like, that's me right now. The courtroom is warm and it's quiet, and I'm trying to take all my notes. And today it was like, I was ready. I was fighting that head bob.
Oh, wait, I'm putting one last thing in back chat for you to consider real fast. This is a quote from the article I just read that was from today, and I don't know, you'll know what I mean when you see.
Okay.
If that's the bottom.
It hasn't been released yet.
That's in the article I'm looking at.
I know, but it hasn't gone in open court. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, okay, it's fine. That's why I was asking. No big. We'll wait on that.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. If you want to release it, you can. If it's in the article, they just didn't release it in open court yet.
It's from Kate Amora at 6:08 p.m. tonight.
So he lived and worked in Harford County, and we've known where he's worked for a long time, since we got his name. Well, yeah, right. Since we got his name, we found out where. No, I think we knew before.
No. I think we narrowed some options down before we had it. It was after
no, but
the late
I
night.
knew. Okay, so here's the deal. While he was living in Bel Air, he worked at Popeyes and Barrett's on the Pike restaurant. And you have a chi too? Yeah. He's a micro mini.
What's a chi woo? What's a chi who? What's the difference?
Well, like I have a Chiweenie. Belle's a Chiweenie, and then we have him who's full Chiweenie. I mean, full Chihuahua.
I didn't know there was. When you say Chihuahua, I just think all the ones that look like kind of dashy.
Yeah. So Victor did work at Popeyes and Barrett's. Consider that. That'll be out, and more information will be on that. There's stories that go with that. And I won't tell them until we know more information.
Yeah. So I think just for since we're from everything that you've said today, and then knowing maybe, having potential members or associates of his coming in sometime, hopefully this week, to get just to give y'all a heads up so that y'all understand. That's all that's been released thus far. I don't know. We don't know anything else in terms of extensive specifics surrounding that, but it's just an FYI. And
yeah,
obviously law enforcement is aware. They've got it. They've known for a long time.
They've known forever. Wonder if those companies have to testify since the claims have been. I don't know. I don't know.
Or so that's a good just aspect, like a good element to think of. Good question.
It is. I don't know how that's gonna work, but we'll find out more. So I look forward to tomorrow. I look forward to my pillow and my puppy, and I would think so too, Dawn. I just don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't look forward to seeing. Here's the thing. It's you make friends in the strangest places. I have met some incredible people in the courtroom in these last few days. I have my EMTs who I just love, my ladies. They know who they are. And then I have another set of girls who usually sit behind me. Wink, wink. They're in here. And it's nice to have that camaraderie in such a hard situation. My girl crush. Hopefully she'll be there tomorrow. I'm telling you, I got to run out and get a selfie. Is that weird? That's weird.
No, that's what I told you, and you said no, because I said that yesterday when we were on the phone. I was like,
"Oh my God, I know it's weird, but
I'm gonna try." Yeah, there she is. Like, look at it. Like, do I go ask her for a selfie? I'm like, you are gonna be like, it's like seeing a celebrity that you've just been in awe of for like.
I love strong women. I think strong women who. Allison Healy's another one. I love a strong lady who carries herself and commands respect with just being herself, like is comfortable in her skin, does her thing. Like I want to be friends with her. I need to be friends with her. I love that energy, it raises you up to that level. And I really like that. Yes. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to the ladies who support the family in the courtroom and me in the courtroom. And, we're all kind of taking care of each other. And I love that we have that vibe in our little town here. Okay. I just got a message that said that the locations were released. So I feel better. I was a little bit.
I was like, I don't know how we got this, but if it's out there,
I have to look at that. You know what? Hang on. Let me just check something really super fast because I just got another message. You might be right.
No, I'm glad. I mean, y'all are taking in so much as you listen and go through it, and we're also trying to be so cautious and careful with how much
not releasing things.
Yeah. But I was like, I literally just read it, and I was like, oh gosh. So thank you for that message.
Yes, thank you very much for confirming, because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of sweating over here that we released something we shouldn't have, and I just got a message saying that it was released in opening statements. Like I said, we know things that we have just tried to be respectful of, and I've been sitting on that information for a long time. So, okay, good.
Sometimes Tia has to check me, but I'm like, Tia, I would never bring up something if it's not out there or
no. And she checks. She's been more active on social media and seeing what's out there. I haven't. I have not checked on social media since last Friday. So she's been much more aware of what's going on in the world, where I'm very in the courtroom. So she's actually got much more knowledge than I do.
So I take the notes that literally are written, like I have printed out pages. By the way, now all of a sudden printer's not working, but like I'm writing on my notes, because when Tia and I talk, I'm writing down or typing out what she's saying just so I can keep it together. And then she has to go back into the courtroom after a break or lunch or whatnot. And once she does that, then my Fanny gets online. And then I'm looking at every update that's coming, and I take notes in conjunction with hers and try to combine, to make sure that we're capturing everything. But sometimes I make a mistake. And
who doesn't? We both do.
accidentally say something, but no, for real though, this I do encourage, like Tia said, do your own research too and look some things up if you want to. It's out there. I think this case has been one where they've done a very good job of being delicate and actually
keeping things close to the vest. I'm so impressed with that.
There's been no slip of anything coming out. And so, but I am saying, like, they are out there, and the sketches from the courtroom are great. I've never understood how people could do that so quickly. Like, just sit there and be like,
she did several, like so many.
Everyone they're so good. And it was when I saw the ones from Friday after you called and talked about the girls and like opening statements and the first testimonies and stuff. And Tia spoke, she was like, God, they just impressed me how they held themselves on the stands. And she was like, they were beautiful and all this stuff. And then you see these sketches and it's like you could just see what Tia was describing, or it's evident in those sketches, but they are out there. And if you would like to see them, I would suggest just look them up. I mean, not in a bad way.
Yeah, just Decipher doesn't have to be. I always say we never have to be the first, but we'll be the most accurate. And if you want to look the pictures up, you can look the pictures up. I don't feel the need to show them. I'm so fiercely protective of Rachel's kids that it freaks me out when like names were out. I was like, why are names out there?
Yeah, I was surprised by that too, but I think the way they've handled it has been great since then. And the court, like the sketch artists, they're very simple images. It's nothing. But they do like everything just looks. I mean, it's tasteful. It's nothing I don't think it's exploiting them in any way. They did their job. They are fighting not only for themselves and for their emotional well-being, but also their mom. And that's all, the images are nice. And so there's nothing you won't see anything, but they are out there. And actually there are people that sometimes I'm doing a double take trying to be like, wait, is that the detective or trying to figure out, or I was like, or is that like the defense attorney? And I don't know where Tia just went. Oh, there she is. Hey Dash, it's not a dog. But anyway, I just want to say that. So I think we've covered everything. We'll continue to post the updates or have an update or two. I guess I know that people on Twitter do it. Some people are doing it like every couple of hours. It's kind of like once I talk to Tia around lunchtime.
I try to call her during the break. Hey, princess. I try to call her during the break. And sometimes there isn't a lot of time to like, what's the headline? You know, and you're like, we've had like 30 minutes of sidebar and like 5 minutes of testimony, so there isn't much to tell. So at lunchtime, I'm like verbal diarrhea. Like I'm literally like reading my notes, like opening statements, 900, you know, and she's like, okay, hold on. And she's trying to ask me questions, like, no questions.
Yeah. Yes. If I start to say so, and she goes, she's like, stop talking. Let me finish. Let me get this out.
Because I have like in my head, I've been collecting all this. And if you stop me, and you of all people know, I squirrel so easily. So if I get off track here, I'm done. I'm going, we're going everywhere. So that's why I'm like, just let me get it out.
But so basically, let me get this out too. So I'm having a regret. Let me just spit this out. So basically, just so y'all know, because sometimes I feel like I'm being a little delinquent or insufficient with like the constant updates. And I don't care. Like I agree with Tia too. Like there are some great people out there who are, and I love that people are following this. I would like to shout that out too, because there are so many high profile cases and trials occurring at once. And I am glad that Rachel, this might be the first time that I am glad that Rachel in a way is included in those because
justice is going to happen.
So, but basically how we've been doing it. So I don't do the updates quite as much. I do keep an update on everyone else, on everyone else's updates and compare it to notes and stuff. But it's just kind of like if y'all are okay with that, it's like T's in the courtroom. I'm in, I don't know, mission control, doing the best.
Yep. Absolutely.
We kind of have like
she's at HQ.
And it's kind of like 1 or 2 updates, like mid-morning to afternoon. And then it's kind of like if there's something, I mean, the shovel thing today was like, are we kidding? Like,
yeah, that was
out more. But
mm-hmm.
when after lunch, by the time like once Tia goes in for lunch, goes back in after lunch, I think maybe we talk like sometimes once or twice, like if you step out to use the restroom or something, I'll get some sort of update. But then we basically save it for the live. And if everyone is okay with that, because unless we can take constructive criticism from people that whose opinions and whatnot, we will read it all.
If you're looking for something specific, please ask. You can always email us. Do you want to put our email in? I can do it. Actually, maybe I can't. No, I can't. Something's not working.
We're both on. I'm sorry, and I know I feel so bad.
Okay, so I can't move. All right, that's why.
Decipher
frozen.
What are we? Decipher Pod.
Decipher Podcast 1 at Gmail. If you have any questions, you can email us. You can message us. Ask me whatever. There we go. That's our email. Questions, concerns, comments are all welcome. If you have a suggestion, put it in the suggestion box. No, I'm just kidding. Please let us know, because we do. We strive to be better, and we're trying. So please let us know. It's important. And to my local friends who have been so kind in court and outside of court, I've gotten messages from people who tonight I got 4 or 5 messages from people who are just local that, just want updates. Thank you. Thank you for supporting Decipher during this. But know that we are not the important one, that Rachel Morin is the important. We're not doing this for clicks and views. We're doing this to finally talk about Rachel. When Victor was caught, we did the live announcing that he was caught, but then made a conscious decision. Did you hear that? That was a big thud. We made a conscious decision to kind of quiet down talk of Rachel until the trial happened, because God forbid we did not want to slip up and give any help to Victor and his team. So now is our time. And once that gavel hits and things are done, gone, check it off the list, we can talk about it. And LFT and I were talking about it today. We have a timeline that we have that will be released at some point once it's complete and the case is over and in the books. And I'm solid, we're solid on the information that we have from that. You guys can check that out. And that just gives all the information on the case.
There's a ton of it.
Mm-hmm. And then we are getting discovery. We already know that. We talked to the clerk of courts. And we're going to go through every inch of discovery and report what we find there as well. So there's a lot to discuss with Rachel Morin, and to bring awareness to women and say, don't wear both ear pods when you're running. Just wear one. I've had to take that lesson. Just wear one. And so be aware of your surroundings always. If you get that weird feeling like you're uncomfortable, there's a reason you're getting it. Do what you need to do to get out of there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. And we will hopefully be live tomorrow night with the update on what happened.
I don't even know if we're speaking English at this point.
Are
we obloing? Are we obloing? What?
Well, usually the phrase is, I'm deaf and she doesn't speak English. So
I was like, we've never met.
That's how no information gets out.
You don't speak English? Yeah. Nope.
All right, you guys, have a great night. I will see my friends in court tomorrow. To the rest of you, thank you for tuning in and your support. We are so grateful. We'll thank you for the memberships, and those of you who have joined. We're going to do a special membership live here this week, talking about some behind the scenes stuff. And I don't know. We'll just see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. And also, thank you to Kelly P. Sorry, Will and Kelly P. I just didn't want to. Y'all both gifted. Thank y'all. And then the real Kels joined. So thank all y'all.
Yeah, that was really cool. Thank you, Kels. And
I was like, oh.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the prayers for the family and for Rachel and her family. And I will catch up with you later on, madam. And I will catch up with our friends tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.
Thank y'all so much. Hope y'all have a nice night.
Bye.